Hello, Salvadoran Warrior here to give you another class mod review. If you saw the preview video and a little lost on all the shenanigans that went down, I'll be gladly explain to you what you just witnessed. So until then, like and subscribe and follow more for this series that I'm trying to make known as the class mod reviews. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a character known as the Maid, aka Miss Dio. She is a character that gives herself extra time to rack up DPS and, of course, move around the team if she wants to, and, of course, causing more DPS. I know you're eyeing the base stats, which is right here. Pretty low numbers, but don't let it fool you, because these attacks do hurt, and when they hurt, I mean they hurt. If you don't have these crazy trinkets that I'll talk about later on, then I can tell you that she's also a double-edged sword. So there's a lot of factors that you have to kick in. Do you want to sacrifice stress damage for the sake of doing damage back to the enemy? Or do you want to play it safe and only use it when things get tight? So until then, let's talk about the base stats first, then the resistance, and then we'll talk about the combat skills / camping skills, strategies, and trinkets. So here we go. The base stats. She has pretty low HP, no accuracy or proc. Her damage, like I said, is pretty low, but her dodge numbers are pretty high. Her crit is really high as well. And her speed, well, it's ridiculous. She'll always go first, no matter what. So those are her stats. Simple as that. This is where you're going to get most of your damage from, the crit. But you can't really rely on it too much. Excuse me. Unless you have some trinkets or something, or even a party member to buff your crit, or move, hint hint, to boost that crit to make it viable. And like I said, she has those. Which is why, hint hint. So, you're gonna get a lot of value off of this crit number. And in the dodges, she'll hardly be hit. Just, be aware of this, because if she does get hit, be ready to try to heal her or keep an eye on it, so that way if you feel like you need a healer later, you can do that. But whatever's, but just also beware of her speed. Always remember that she'll always go first, always. Her resistances, however, are interesting. Her stun is slightly low. Move resistance is like whatever's. But her blight and bleed are probably one of her highest. Same thing with the debuffing, and of course she can disarm traps like nothing. This is probably the highest number I've seen in diseases so far. So can't really tell you if she's gonna get a disease or not. And like every other class character in the Darkest Dungeon, everyone has a 67% chance of a death blow. That's all I'm going to tell you. So in summary, her base stats, her crit, dodge, and speed are her highest, where her resistances, the bleed, trap, debuffing, and blight are also up there as well. Anything else from 80 and below, comes second rate. So that's all I can tell you about those resistances. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the combat skills. The first one is the world. It is a combat skill that can be used in any position, and she gives herself plus 15 stress, but on buff, she gives herself a plus 10 accuracy with a free action. And then, of course, with the time warp ability, she gains herself an extra action. So technically, she's going 3 times because all these other moves, they have second abilities if time warp is active. And then once time warp is gone, you got one more action, and then you get to do whatever you want after that. So keep in mind, most of the moves I'm about to tell you right now will move her around from front to back. So let's discuss the first move that pulls her back. Internal Meek is an ability, a combat skill that can be used in positions 1 to 3 and can hit positions as an AoE attack from 1 to 3. It's a range ability, pulls her back once, has an accuracy base of 110, but the crit isn't too ridiculous because she suffers from a -1 crit percent. On hit, she will gain a buff of a +3 speed with -3% stress resistance. However, if you activate the world first, and you use the Eternal Meek ability, instead of being moved 1 position, she'll be moved back 2 positions. This is what I'm talking about. You activate this, and all of a sudden, most of her combat skills will gain a second ability if time warp is active. So that's probably one of her unique things about her entire combat skill. So there you go. All I can say is, it's a pretty good move. Giving herself +3 speed can make her, faster. And since it hits 3 targets, 3 points is gonna skyrocket. And with that -3% of stress, can give you somewhat of an edge on making yourself more resistant towards the world's insufferable +15 stress penalty. So if you're consistent with this move, you use it twice, maybe you can stack somewhere around, somewhere around, a pretty high number that makes you resistant to 10 stress, or maybe 9. Who knows? The next ability is Indiscriminate. It's an ability, a combat skill that can be used in positions 2 to 4 and is an AoE attack that can hit from positions 2 to 4 as well. Now, this move pulls her forward, and it's another range ability. The accuracy is a 110, and again, the crit mod is a -1%, but on hit will give the enemy -4 speed, and she'll give herself a buff of 3%, -3% stress. Now, if the time warp ability is active, not only will the enemy on hit will suffer a -4 speed debuff, but the enemy will also suffer a +10 damage received. Now, those type of debuffs, oh man, they're scary. But if it's on the enemy, it's great. So if you have the chance while you're in maybe position 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 and you want to move up, this is it right here. Use time warp, use the world, time warp will be active, and you'll get access to not only the debuffing on speed, but the debuffing on the enemy receiving damage. So it's really, really good. Super good. Can't pass this up. The next combat skill is Misdirection. It's a combat skill that can be used in positions 1 to 4, and she de-stresses herself by 9, clears a marked target on herself, gives herself +15 dodge, and she stealths herself for 2 rounds. Now, if the Time Warp ability is active, she'll force someone to block for her. I don't know how long the guard duration is, but it doesn't last that long. For now, this is her answer to de-stressing herself if you're planning to use the word a lot. So let's say you're at, I don't know, 20 stress, and you want to try to clear it by 9. Misdirection is perfect, and you can pick any position you want. Trade places with someone. If you feel like someone on the 3rd row needs to be pulled back to the 1st row, you can do that. If you're playing around with a shuffling team, it's even perfect because that way you can come up with more strategies with your shuffling team and maybe try to reset some sort of direction going. You could do whatever you want with misdirection is basically what I'm trying to say. If you don't want her to move anywhere, then the Time Warp Force Guard is okay. Just make sure you put it on someone that can tank hits or is able to dodge all those attacks for you. Or if you know someone that's proposing, you can do that too. I just never got the opportunity to do this. I only use this move after the Time Warp ability's gone. That way I can move around, give myself plus 15, and, stealthing yourself is always nice. So, misdirection's really good. The next one is Killer Doll. It's a combat skill that can be used in positions 2 to 4 and can hit the enemy's positions from 1 to 3. She pulls herself forward, and by doing this, she'll, if the enemy is marked, she'll get a 25% damage boost. If the enemy is twice her size, she'll get a 20% damage boost. But keep in mind the accuracy of 105. She also gives a damage mod boost of 80% and a crit mod of 12%. So really good stats. Time Warp, she'll shuffle the enemy team with 1 round. And of course, there's a debuff on herself for negative 25 damage for 2 rounds. So you can use the Time Warp ability for this one, but my personal recommendation, I would wait until Time Warp wears off. That way you can use Dog Killer and you'll gain all those nice pluses. It may seem like you're cheating, but hey, it's in the game. Technically not really, but this is good. And like I said, the plus damage modifiers are perfect. That way it can help her deal more damage since she suffers from low damage naturally anyway. So that's why I'm not too mad about this. But if you feel like you're gonna kill someone like real quick and you want to kill them real fast after activating the world, then by all means use the Time Warp ability, shuffle the back row to the front, and have the back row suffer from using weak attacks against your party, and laugh laugh at them, because this move is good. The next one is the Ludu Bale. The Ludu Bale can be used in positions 1 to 4 and can hit the back row on the enemy side on 3 to 4. Again, it's a range ability. Accuracy is 115, but has a negative 60% on damage, so it's a huge penalty. But the crit mod gives you a plus 4%, and it shuffles the back row. Debuffing on target also gives them a negative 20 accuracy. If you activate the world when activating this ability, not only do you get all those perks, but you also get to stun them at the same time. This is really good. If you want to mess around with the back row, you can. And the best part is, you're not shuffling anywhere. So if you feel like you should stay in one single place, this is it right here. Really good move. Negative 20 accuracy on the enemy is really, really good. How can you pass that up? The last combat skill is Soul Scripture, or Soul Sculpture. Soul Sculpture is a range ability, a range combat skill that moves her forward and gives her a 110 accuracy, damage modifier of plus 30%, crit modifier of 4%. It comes with armor piercing, and it bypasses reposes, meaning they won't activate on hit. And based on hit, it's negative 3% of stress per hit. Then I mentioned it could be used in positions 2 to 4 and hits positions on the enemy side as an AoE attack from 1 to 2. Forgot to mention that. And as a time warp ability, once you activate the world, you get access and giving yourself plus 4% more of crit for 2 rounds per hit. That is just so crazy good. Imagine stacking more crit onto yourself. And for 2 rounds, hell yeah, why not? Overall, there's no wrong way of running the Maid class. As long as you have the world as an open slot, all these moves right here are good, and they're going to be good for you when it comes to dealing damage to the enemy side. So if you want, you could do something like this, or this, or hell, even this. If you're starting off, I guess this is okay too. This is really, really okay. But sometimes you can do this too, or this, and then once you get to like the higher ups, this will be viable. It doesn't matter. It's too good. If you don't like this ability, you can always shuffle it for this, and once you're done with this, time warp wears off, you go to misdirection and you get to go whatever position you want. So in summary, it's too good. It's too good. Let's talk about her camping skills. She comes with the default camping skills like Encourage, Wounded Care, and Pep Talk. But the 4 unique camping skills is what makes her her. Her first camping skill is Tea Time. It's a time cost 2, and she gives all of her companions negative 20 stress resistance. This lasts for 4 battles. This one's pretty okay. If you know your team is suffering from a lot of stress and you want to prevent it from going over 50, this is good to slow it down. 20% may not sound like enough, but it's something. Overall, it's okay. I wish it had more buffs, but I guess there's a reason why it's so cheap, right? You only get one. Beggars can't be choosers. Time Leap is the next camping skill. It's a time cost 1, and only on the self gives herself plus 4 speed and plus 10 accuracy on the first round. This lasts for 4 battles. I get it, but to tell you the truth, man, I'm not a fan of first round buffs, because after the first round you lose them on the second round, and I don't know, I just can't dig it, man. I can't do it. Leap of Time is a waste of time in my opinion. No pun intended. The third camping skill is Warding Incense. Warding Incense is a time cost 2, and she gives her party plus 20% of debuff resist, disease resist, and bleed resist. This lasts for 4 battles. This one's okay, only because if you notice that most of your allies are weak on these things, you just throw that buff on them and they'll totally be okay. Especially the bleed resistance. I wish I had blight resistance, but that's okay. That's fine. Other than that, it's a time cost too. It's cheap. Who cares? Moving on to the last camping skill. Danmarku Practice. Danmarku Practice is a time cost 3. And on the self, she gives herself a plus 10 dodge. And only on one companion can give them a plus 10 crit. Both of these buffs last for 4 battles. Now that is really good. That's what I'm talking about. Not only do you give yourself plus 10 dodge, but you're giving someone a free plus 10 crit. Giving someone plus 10 crit, or having 10 crit in general, is really good in the Darkest Dungeon. Really, really, really good. Give it to someone that deals a lot of damage. Don't give it to some random schmuck on the team. Make sure you give this to someone that you know is going to do damage. And when that happens, of course, having plus 10 dodge while sitting on pretty high natural dodge is just too good. I recommend it, my friend. Overall, her camping skill is okay. Could have been better, but you know, camping skills are just camping skills. You rely on your allies to have better camping skills than you, but sometimes you wish you can have more. Overall though, her camping skills is okay, but her combat skills is amazing. Resistance is okay, but the base stats is very unique. What can I say about, you know, strats for teams? Put her in a shuffling team. Put her in a Mark Synergy team. She's one of those jack of all trades characters. Just don't put her in a team that will mess up positioning. But then again, this is what misdirection's for. If you know you're going to mess up someone's positioning, always make sure you activate this move last before your turn ends. As for trinkets, well, I'm pretty sure on the preview video you guys saw, I was running around with this trinket that you can only get from the trinket mod of the Ringmaster's Butcher Circus. And this trinket was really expensive, but that's okay. I had the money for it, as you can see. And having negative 50 stress resistance is too damn good when you're running around with the world. And if you're running around with the dungeon mod, the Sunward Isles, getting this trinket is also too damn good. Plus 10 stress with a 10% chance to, you know, get an extra combat action, an extra turn. It's just too OP. It's 10%, yeah, but when it happens, oh man. Oh man. Prepare to pog. Now, if you want to be fair, if you want to play the game the way it was intended, then there's this and this. This is from the Colors of Madness DLC. And as you can see, not only does he give herself a maximum HP, but she also carries a negative 50% stress resistance. And in Time Warp, she gives herself a plus 10 to 40% damage. So we'll never know what it'll be. There's one problem. If you activate the world, the entire party suffers from a 3 to 6 damage hit. And if you activate Misdirection, it's 3 to 6 more. So if you want to have people suffer with their HP, then this is something you got to think about when activating the world or Misdirection. So there you go. As for Pocket Watch, you get an extra negative 10% stress with this, but you'll lose negative 20 damage. With the Time Warp, however, based on your moves, because they're all range moves, you get to, you know, apply bleeding, and if on hit, you'll do damage of 4 points over time, and it lasts for 3 rounds. There's no guarantee that you'll always apply bleeding, but it's a start. If you really, really, really don't like this trinket, then an ancestral pistol will do. And if you don't have any of these, or a lot of crystals, then this is good to use. That's always good to use, and I don't know, when you download this class mod, it should give you access to a whole bunch of their other trinkets that may or may not be useful based on your playstyle. So, it's all based on experimenting. You decide what's good for this character. You tell yourself this works, and whatever I'm telling you right now, it is all a lie. I don't care. What I do care is that you do check this character out if you want to have fun with this character. I get it, this game's very stressful, but at the same time, what if you just want to turn your brain off and spam this all day? I'm just saying, give this a try. I was on the fence on using this character to begin with, but after a lot of tries, I had a lot of fun, and I saw myself smiling instead of just sweating based on the stress damage I was getting, or how many times I bumped into the collector a lot. With that aside, I'm gonna end this video right here, and once this video ends, I'll show you another clip of what she can do on the field. This time without this crazy setup. And that way you can get a general idea on how to use her and how it should go down. Same team setup though. So other than that, I want you guys to have a nice day. Again, check this character out. It will be in the link description like always. And look forward to the next class mod review. And I will see you when I see you. Take care.
but a victory nonetheless.